I arrived home for Christmas after an 8-month medical deployment overseas. I was exhausted but excited to see my 12-year-old daughter, Madison. During dinner with my parents and sister, I casually asked Madison if the $2,100 I sent every month was enough for her needs. Madison looked genuinely confused and asked, "What money?" The room went silent. My parents, who had been caring for Madison, turned pale. My sister, Jenna, quickly tried to change the subject. I didn't yell. I watched. I waited. Then there was a knock at the door. The knock startled everyone. My father jumped up a little too quickly, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. My mother's hand trembled as she set down her wine glass. I watched them carefully, my military training kicking in. Something was very wrong here. I stood and walked to the door, my heart pounding. When I opened it, there stood Tyler, my ex-husband, holding Madison's pink backpack. "Hey, Eva," he said with a tired smile. "Madison forgot this at my place over the weekend. Thought she might need it for school on Monday. Thanks, Tyler," I said, taking the bag. "Want to come in for a minute?" He glanced past me into the dining room where my family sat frozen. "Sure, just for a second." Tyler stepped inside, and I closed the door behind him. He walked into the dining room and waved at Madison. "Hey, kiddo, got your stuff." "Thanks, Dad," Madison said quietly. Tyler turned to my parents with a polite nod. "Thanks for having her this week. I know it's not easy. I've been trying to help out more with her expenses since, the money Eva sends barely covers anything these days." I felt my blood turn to ice. "What do you mean, barely covers anything?" Tyler looked at me, confused. "Well, I know things are tight. Your parents mentioned that what you send helps, but I've been supplementing for her clothes, school activities, that kind of thing. No judgment. I know military pay isn't always great." I walked slowly back to the table. My voice came out calm, controlled. "Tyler, I've been sending $2,100 every single month for the past 8 months. That's $16,800 total." The color drained from Tyler's face. He looked at my parents, then at Madison. "16,000? But they told me you were only sending a few hundred." Madison's eyes went wide. She looked at me, then at her grandparents. "Mom, I only get about $200 a month. Grandma gives it to me for allowance and school supplies and stuff." The room felt like it was spinning. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and opened my banking app. I showed Tyler the screen. 8 wire transfers, each for exactly $2,100, all confirmed as delivered to my parents' joint account. "Where is the money?" I asked quietly, looking directly at my mother. My mother's face had gone from pale to blotchy red. She wrung her hands together. "It's in Madison's savings account, sweetheart. We've been putting it away for her college fund. For her future." "Show me the statements," I said. My father slammed his hand on the table, making Madison flinch. "This is ridiculous. We've been taking care of your daughter for months while you're off playing soldier. You're accusing us of theft?" After everything we've sacrificed, Jenna jumped in immediately. "Dad's right, Eva. This is so ungrateful. They've been feeding her, housing her, driving her everywhere. Do you know how much that costs?" I kept my eyes on my mother. "Show me the bank statements. Now." My mother couldn't meet my gaze. "I don't have them here. They're at the bank." "That's not how savings accounts work, Mom, and you know it." I pulled up my wire transfer history and turned the phone around so everyone could see. Every single one says delivered and deposited. The last one was 3 days ago. $2,100. December 20th. That's when it hit me. 3 days ago. I'd noticed something when I arrived at the house earlier today. I looked at my father. "Is that a new car in the driveway?" The silence that followed was deafening. My father's jaw clenched. "That's none of your business. How much did it cost?" I pressed. $45,000, Tyler said quietly. Head pulled out his phone and was looking at something. I recognized the model. Saw the same one at the dealership last week when I was getting my oil changed. Base price is 45 grand. My mother started crying. We deserved something nice. We've been dealing with this for months. Do you know how hard it is to raise a child at our age? Madison's face crumpled. She looked at me with tears streaming down her cheeks. Am I that much of a burden? I moved immediately to my daughter's side and wrapped my arms around her. No, baby. No. You are not a burden. You are my entire world. Over Madison's head, I looked at Jenna. My sister wouldn't meet my eyes. Something clicked. Jenna, I said slowly. How much have they been giving you? Her head snapped up. What? Nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me. Jenna's resolve cracked. $500 a month, for rent help. But I didn't know it was your money, Eva. I swear I thought they were just being generous. I felt sick. $500 a month for 8 months. That was another $4,000. I pulled away from Madison and started walking through the house. Tyler followed me. Eva, what are you doing? Looking, I said shortly. I went to Madison's room. It was small, cramped, the same room I'd grown up in. I looked at her clothes. Most of them were too small or worn thin. I checked her shoes. The sneakers she'd been wearing at dinner had holes in the soles, stuffed with cardboard to cover them. Madison, I called out. She appeared in the doorway, wiping her eyes. Why didn't you tell me your shoes had holes? She looked down. Grandma said we couldn't afford new ones. She said I should be grateful for what I have and stop asking for things. My hands were shaking now. I thought of all the times I'd sent messages asking if Madison needed anything. My parents always replied that everything was fine, that Madison had everything she needed. I pulled out my phone again and started scrolling through my emails. There. 7 messages from Madison's school over the past 3 months. Notices about unpaid field trip fees. Lunch account overdraft warnings. A note from her teacher asking if there were financial difficulties because Madison had been coming to school without proper supplies. I'd never seen any of these emails. They'd been sent to the address on file, which was my parents' email because it'd been deployed and mailed to military addresses overseas was unreliable. Did you get any of these? I asked my father, showing him the screen. He glanced at it dismissively. We handled what we needed to handle. Handled it? Her lunch account has been negative for 6 weeks. She's been getting free reduced lunch because you never paid it. She was fine, my mother snapped. She ate. She survived. You're being dramatic. I looked at Madison. Do you want to stay here, or do you want to come live with me near the base? Madison didn't hesitate. I want to be with you. Then go pack everything that's yours. Everything. Tyler, help her. As they left, I turned back to my parents and Jenna. I pulled out my phone one more time and started taking photos. The dining room, the new furniture I'd noticed in the living room. Everything. That's when I saw it through the kitchen window. In the garage, visible through the open door, were stacks of boxes. New things. Expensive things. I walked out to the garage. My father tried to block me, but I pushed past him. The garage was packed. A brand new riding lawnmower with the price tag still attached. $2,300. Power tools still in their cases. A massive flat-screen TV in a box. Designer purses on a shelf. Shopping bags from Nordstrom and Saks Fifth Avenue. I started recording video on my phone, narrating what I saw. Eva, stop this right now, my father demanded. I ignored him and kept recording. Then I saw a file box on a workbench. I opened it. Inside were bank statements. I shuffled through them, my heart sinking with each page. Madison's college fund. The account I'd opened for her when she was born and had contributed to for years. It should have had about $12,000 in it. I'd put my parents' names on it years ago, before the divorce, just in case something happened to me during deployment. The balance was 0. The withdrawal slips were right there. 4 withdrawals over the past 6 months. $3,000, $4,000, $3,000, $2,000. All signed with Madison's name in handwriting that clearly wasn't hers. My parents had forged my 12-year-old daughter's signature. I held up the papers. You stole from her college fund, too. My mother was crying harder now. We had debt. We needed it. We were going to pay it back. When? I asked coldly. When were you going to pay back the $16,800 you took from the money meant for Madison's care? When were you going to replace the $12,000 from her college fund? That's $28,800 you've stolen. From your own granddaughter. Madison appeared in the doorway with Tyler, both of them carrying bags. Madison's eyes went to the college fund statements in my hand. Even at 12, she understood what she was looking at. You took my college money. Her voice was so small, so hurt. My father's face went red. We raised you. We fed you. We put a roof over your head. That money was payment for services rendered. Services rendered. I repeated slowly. She's your granddaughter, not a client. We deserved compensation, my father insisted. You abandoned her to go play hero overseas. Someone had to pick up the pieces. Madison flinched at the word abandoned. I saw her whole body curl inward, and something inside me snapped into crystal clarity. Madison, I said gently, has anyone here made you feel like you were abandoned? She nodded, tears streaming. Grandma said you picked the army over me, that you didn't really want me, that I should be grateful they were willing to take me in even though I'm expensive and difficult. Tyler made a strangled noise. They told you that. All the time, Madison whispered. Grandma said every time I asked for something that I was being selfish because I already cost so much. She said you were sending money, Mom, but that it wasn't enough to cover how much I eat and how much space I take up. I pulled Madison into my arms. Over her head, I looked at my mother with pure contempt. You emotionally abused her. You made her feel worthless, so she wouldn't question why she never had anything. My mother's tears turned defensive. I did not. I gave her a home. I fed her. She's being dramatic, just like you. She's 12, I said. She's a child. And you stole from her while making her feel guilty for existing. Jenna finally spoke up, her voice shaking. Eva, maybe we can all just calm down and figure this out. I'm sure there's been some miscommunication. Miscommunication? I stared at my sister. Jenna, they've been paying you $500 a month. You knew that money had to come from somewhere. Jenna's face flushed. I thought they were just helping me. They said they had extra. From where? I demanded. Dad's been retired for 5 years. Mom works part-time at the library. Where did you think they suddenly got thousands of dollars to buy new cars and designer purses and give you rent money? Jenna looked away. She knew. She'd known. Tyler cleared his throat. Eva, I think we need to go. Madison's stuff is packed. Wait, I said. I walked back into the house and went to Madison's room one more time. Something was nagging at me. I opened her closet and looked at the top shelf. There, pushed way back, was a shoebox. I pulled it down and opened it. Inside were letters, dozens of them, all addressed to Madison, all in my handwriting, all unopened. My hands started shaking. I recognized these. Id sent them. 1 letter every week, sometimes more. Id sent care packages too. Little things to remind Madison I was thinking of her. Madison, I called out. She came running. Did you ever get any letters from me? She shook her head. Grandma said you were too busy to write. I showed her the box. I wrote you every single week. Look at the dates. Madison took one of the letters with trembling hands and opened it. It was from my 3rd week of deployment, dated April. Inside was a photo of me with my medical unit, a pressed flower Id found on base, and a long letter telling her how much I missed her and loved her. She opened another one. This one had a gift card to her favorite bookstore for her birthday in June. $25, unused. Another letter. Another. Birthday cards, postcards, photos. All intercepted. All hidden. Madison collapsed onto her bed, clutching the letters. She was crying so hard her whole body shook. I thought you forgot about me. I thought you didn't care anymore. I sat beside her and held her while she sobbed. Tyler stood in the doorway, his face twisted with anger. When he looked at my parents, I'd never seen him so furious. You let her think her mother abandoned her, Tyler said, his voice low and dangerous. Eva sent these. She never stopped trying to reach Madison. You kept them from her. My mother's face had gone from red to white. We were protecting her. From what? I asked. From knowing her mother loves her. From you leaving her again, my mother spat. From getting attached just to have you deploy again and break her heart. So you broke her heart instead. I stood up, still holding Madison. You made her feel abandoned and worthless. You stole money meant for her care. You forged her signature to steal her college fund. You kept her mother's letters from her. Why? Why would you do this? My father's mask finally slipped. Because we needed the money, Eva. We had debts. We had expenses. You were supposed to send money for Madison, and you did. How we used it was our business. It was Madison's money, I said. Every penny was for her, and she had a bed and food, didn't she? My father's voice was cold. She survived. That's all kids need. Madison's crying got louder. I kissed the top of her head and made a decision. Tyler, take Madison to the car. It'll be right there. Tyler understood. He gently took Madison's hand and led her out, carrying her bags. I heard the front door close. I turned to my parents and Jenna. I pulled out my phone one more time and opened my contacts. I scrolled to a number I'd hoped I'd never have to use. Military Legal Assistance Office. I put it on speaker and dialed. Hello, this is Captain Bradley with Legal Assistance. How can I help you? My parents' eyes went wide. Captain, this is Sergeant Eva Morrison. I need to report a theft and request guidance on filing a police report for fraud. Captain Bradley's voice came through clear and professional. Sergeant Morrison, please describe the situation. I did. I laid out every detail. The $16,800 sent for Madison's care. The college fund theft of $12,000. The forged signatures. The intercepted letters. The emotional abuse of my daughter. I kept my voice steady and factual, the way it'd been trained. My parents stood frozen in the middle of their living room. Jenna had sunk onto the couch, her face in her hands. Sergeant Morrison, Captain Bradley said when I finished, this is a serious matter. You need to file a police report immediately. I'm also going to connect you with the Inspector General's office because there may be fraud involved with your military dependent benefits. Do you have documentation? Yes, sir. Photos, bank statements, wire transfer receipts, and the forged college fund withdrawal slips. Excellent. Keep everything. Don't let anyone intimidate you into backing down. This is theft, fraud, and potentially identity theft regarding your daughter. You're doing the right thing. Thank you, sir. One more thing, Sergeant. Are you safe right now? Yes, sir. I'm removing my daughter from this environment immediately. Good. Call me if you need anything else. I'll send you the contact information for the IG office and for the local police department's fraud division. Thank you, sir. I hung up. The silence in the room was suffocating. My father found his voice first. If you do this, if you involve the police, you'll never see any of us again. You'll tear this family apart. I looked at him calmly. You already tore it apart when you stole from your granddaughter. I'm just making it official. Eva, please, my mother begged. We can fix this. We can work something out. Don't ruin us. You ruined yourselves. Jenna stood up suddenly. Eva, you're overreacting. Okay, they made mistakes, but they're still our parents. We can work out a payment plan. They can pay you back over time. You don't need to destroy them. I turned to my sister. Jenna, they paid you $4,000 of stolen money. You're complicit in this whether you want to admit it or not. Her face went pale. I didn't know. You knew enough. You knew they couldn't afford to give you $500 a month. You chose not to ask questions. I opened my calculator app and started adding numbers. $16,800 sent for Madison's care. She received approximately $1,600 total over 8 months. That's $200 a month times 8. That leaves $15,200 stolen. The college fund was $12,000. That's $27,200 total. I looked up at my parents. Where is it? Where did it all go? My mother's crying intensified. We had credit card debt. We had medical bills. We had expenses. Show me, I demanded. My father's face twisted with anger. We don't owe you an explanation. Actually, you do. That money wasn't yours. Show me the bills you paid with Madison's money. They couldn't, or wouldn't. That's when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Tyler. Eva, there's something else. Check your military dependent benefits. I just remembered something. I opened my email on my phone and logged into the military benefits portal. It took a few minutes to navigate to Madison's dependent care account. When I saw it, my stomach dropped. My parents had been claiming additional benefits. Special needs care, $800 per month for the past year. The applications claimed Madison required extra care due to behavioral and developmental issues. There were doctor's letters attached. Except Madison didn't have any special needs. She was a normal, healthy 12-year-old. I clicked on the doctor's letters. They were signed by a physician I'd never heard of. I clicked further. The physician's signature looked suspiciously like my father's handwriting. Did you forge doctor's letters to get extra military benefits? I asked quietly. My father's face told me everything. That's federal fraud, I said. That's not just theft. That's fraud against the United States military. That's a felony. My mother collapsed into a chair. We needed the money. We were desperate. For what? I demanded. What was so important that you had to steal from your own granddaughter and commit federal fraud? Silence. I heard a car door slam outside. A moment later, Tyler came back in, followed by someone I didn't expect, his mother, Diane. I called her, Tyler explained. I thought Madison might need her grandmother, her real grandmother. Diane took one look at my parents and her expression hardened. Eva, Tyler told me some of it. Is it true? All of it, I said. And then some. Diane walked past my parents without acknowledging them and hugged me tight. That baby is outside crying her heart out. She needs her mother. Go. Well, handle this. I asked. Tyler held up his phone. I called the police while I was outside. They're on their way. We're pressing charges. My father lunged forward. You can't do this. Tyler stepped between us. Yes, we can. You stole from Eva. You stole from Madison. You committed fraud. You're done. I looked at Jenna one more time. If you know what's good for you, you'll get a lawyer and distance yourself from this. Tell the truth about what you knew and when you knew it. It's your only chance. Then I walked out. I didn't look back. Outside, Madison was sitting in Tyler's car, still clutching the box of letters. I got in beside her and pulled her close. I'm so sorry, baby, I whispered. I'm so sorry I didn't know. It's not your fault, she said through her tears. You didn't know. They lied to both of us. Tyler and Diane got in the front seat. Where to? Tyler asked. A hotel, I said. Somewhere safe, somewhere quiet. We need to regroup. As we drove away, I saw the police car pulling up to my parents' house. I turned away. Madison leaned against me, exhausted from crying. Mom, she said softly. Yeah, baby. Can I really come live with you? Yes. Nothing would make me happier. What about school? And Dad? Tyler glanced back. Well, figure it out, kiddo. Your mom and I will work together, like we should have been all along. You'll spend time with both of us. You're not losing anybody. You're gaining the life you should have had all along. Madison nodded and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep, finally feeling safe. We checked into a Holiday Inn near the highway. Tyler got a connecting room so he could stay close. Diane offered to stay too, to help with Madison. That night, while Madison slept between us in the hotel bed, I sat up making lists, evidence to gather, people to call, steps to take. Tyler knocked softly on the connecting door around 11. I let him in. She okay? He asked, looking at Madison. She will be. Eventually. We sat at the small table by the window. Tyler had brought coffee from the lobby. I should have seen it, he said. When I picked her up, she always seemed so sad. I thought she was just missing you. It's not your fault. I should have asked more questions. I should have looked closer. I took his hand. We both should have, but we didn't know they were capable of this. Who expects their own parents to steal from their grandchild? Tyler nodded. What are you going to do? Everything, I said. I'm filing a police report tomorrow. I'm meeting with a lawyer. I'm reporting the benefits fraud to the Inspector General. I'm getting full custody modified in our agreement so Madison can live with me primarily. If you're okay with shared custody. Of course I am, Tyler said immediately. I want her to be happy and safe. That's all I've ever wanted. Thank you, I said. For having my back today, for believing me. Always, he said simply. The next morning, I woke to Madison stirring beside me. Her eyes opened, and for a moment she looked confused. Then she remembered, and her face crumpled. It wasn't a bad dream, she whispered. No, baby. I'm sorry. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Is it wrong that I'm kind of relieved? What do you mean? I don't have to go back there. I don't have to feel like a burden anymore. I don't have to tiptoe around and try to take up less space. Even though it's awful what they did, I'm relieved I don't have to be there anymore. I pulled her close. That's not wrong at all. That's honest. And it's okay to feel relieved. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. All of it is okay. We got dressed and met Tyler and Diane in the lobby for breakfast. Madison ate more than I'd seen her eat in months. Color was already starting to come back into her face. After breakfast, I drove to the police station. The police station was busy for a Saturday morning. I checked in at the front desk and explained why I was there. The officer directed me to the fraud division. Within 20 minutes, I was sitting across from Detective Sarah Campbell, a woman in her mid-40s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. I laid everything out. The bank statements, the wire transfer receipts, the college fund withdrawal slips with forged signatures, the emails from Madison's school, photos of the letters my parents had hidden, photos of all the expensive items in their garage, documentation of the fraudulent military benefits claims. Detective Campbell listened carefully, taking notes. When I finished, she sat back in her chair. This is one of the most clear-cut cases I've seen in a while, she said. Usually, family financial abuse is hard to prove. People don't keep records. But you have everything documented. I'm in the military, I said. Documentation is what we do. She smiled slightly. It's going to help you now. I'm going to open an investigation immediately. The forged signatures on the college fund are particularly serious. That's identity theft on top of the fraud. And the military benefits fraud is federal. I'll be contacting the appropriate federal investigators. How long will this take? I asked. Hard to say. Could be a few months. But with evidence this strong, I'd expect charges to be filed relatively quickly. She paused. I have to ask. Are you sure you want to do this? These are your parents. Once this process starts, it's going to be difficult to stop. I'm sure, I said without hesitation. They stole from my daughter. They made her feel worthless. They need to face consequences. Detective Campbell nodded. Okay. I'll be in touch. In the meantime, I'd recommend you consult with a family law attorney about custody and possibly a civil attorney about restitution. Already on my list, I said. I left the police station feeling lighter. Justice was in motion. My next stop was the law office of Patricia Henderson, a family law attorney who'd been recommended by the Military Legal Assistance Office. Her receptionist fit me in for a Saturday emergency consultation. Patricia was a tall black woman with silver streaks in her hair and a commanding presence. She read through all my documentation while I waited. This is appalling, she said finally. Your parents had a duty of care to your daughter. They violated that duty in every possible way. Can I get full custody? I asked. Based on what I'm seeing, yes. Your ex-husband is supportive. Completely. He wants what's best for Madison. Then this should be straightforward. Well, file for a custody modification immediately. Madison can tell the judge where she wants to live. At 12, her preference carries significant weight. Given the circumstances, I don't see any judge denying your request. What about the money? I asked. Patricia pulled out a calculator. Civil restitution is separate from criminal proceedings. You can sue your parents for the full amount they stole, plus interest, plus damages for the emotional harm to Madison. Based on what you've shown me, you have a very strong case. How much are we talking total? The theft amount is $27,200. The fraudulent military benefits they received would be another $800 per month for 12 months, correct? Yes. That's $9,600 more dollars. Total theft is $36,800. You can sue for that amount plus punitive damages and legal fees. You're likely looking at a judgment north of $50,000. The number made me dizzy. Will I actually collect it? That depends on their assets. But the court can garnish wages, seize assets, put liens on property. One way or another, you'll get your money back. I signed the retainer agreement and left her office with a plan. By the time I got back to the hotel, it was early afternoon. Madison was watching cartoons with Diane, while Tyler was on his laptop. How'd it go? Tyler asked. Good. I filed the police report. Met with the attorney. Everything is moving forward. Madison muted the TV. What happens now? I sat beside her. Now we wait. The police will investigate. The lawyer will file papers, and we start building our new life together. Where are we going to live? She asked. I have a small house near the base. 2 bedrooms. It's not fancy, but it's ours. You'll have your own room. We can decorate it however you want. For the first time since this started, Madison smiled. Really? Really? And you'll still see your dad on weekends and holidays. We'll figure out a schedule that works for everyone. What about school? There's a good middle school near the base. Well, get you enrolled after the holidays. Fresh start. Madison threw her arms around me. Thank you, Mom. That evening, Tyler ordered pizza for everyone. We sat around the hotel room eating and talking. Diane told stories about Madison as a baby that made her laugh. Tyler showed Madison pictures of the new apartment complex where Head just moved, with a pool and a game room. Slowly, the trauma of the past 2 days started to ease. Around 8, my phone rang. Unknown number. I stepped into the bathroom to answer it. Sergeant Morrison. Yes. This is Captain Williams from the Inspector General's office. I received your report about fraudulent benefits claims. I need to schedule an interview with you. Of course. When? How about Monday morning? Can you come to the base? Yes, sir. What time? 0900 hours. I'll be there. When I hung up, I felt a wave of exhaustion. Everything was happening so fast. But it needed to happen. For Madison. I came back out to find Madison asleep on the bed, still wearing her clothes. Tyler smiled and pulled a blanket over her. She's been through a lot, he said softly. We all have. Diane stood and gathered her purse. I'm going to head home. But Eva, if you need anything, and I mean anything, you call me. Madison is my granddaughter. I'm here for both of you. Thank you, I said, hugging her. That means everything. After Diane left, Tyler lingered. I should go too. Let you rest. Tyler, I said. Thank you. For everything today. For believing me. For protecting Madison. For being on my side even though we're not married anymore. He smiled. We're still a team when it comes to her. That never changed. That night, I lay awake next to Madison, listening to her breathe. My phone buzzed with a text. It was from Jenna. Eva, I'm so sorry. I didn't know the extent of it. I really didn't. I've hired a lawyer. I'm going to tell the truth about everything I knew. I hope someday you can forgive me. I stared at the text for a long time. Then I typed back. The truth is all I want. Sunday was quiet. We stayed in the hotel, watching movies and ordering room service. Madison went through the box of letters Id sent her, reading each one carefully. She laughed at my jokes and cried at my expressions of love. It was healing for both of us. Monday morning came too soon. I left Madison with Tyler and drove to the base for my meeting with the Inspector General's office. Captain Williams was thorough and professional. I gave him copies of everything Id found. This is serious fraud, Sergeant Morrison, he said. Your parents could face federal charges in addition to the state charges. I understand, sir. And you're prepared to see this through? Absolutely, sir, he nodded. Your commanding officer speaks very highly of you. He wanted me to tell you that you have the full support of this command. Thank you, sir. As I was leaving his office, my phone rang. Detective Campbell. Sergeant Morrison, I have an update. We executed a search warrant on your parents' home this morning. We've seized financial records, computers, and several items we believe were purchased with stolen funds. I wanted you to know that we're moving quickly. Thank you, Detective. There's something else. During the search, we discovered evidence of additional fraudulent activity. It appears your parents have been running a similar scheme with other family members. We're expanding the investigation. My blood ran cold. Other family members. Yes. We found loan documents and financial records suggesting they've borrowed significant amounts from relatives and never repaid them. There's also evidence they may have stolen from your sister years ago. I thought of Jenna. My sister had a trust fund for college. They controlled it. We'll be looking into that. If you have any information about other potential victims, please share it. I'll reach out to my extended family. When I got back to the hotel, Tyler had news too. Your Aunt Linda called. Your dad's sister. She wants to talk to you. I called Aunt Linda back immediately. She answered on the first ring. Eva, honey, I'm so glad you called. I've been sick over this. I heard what happened from your cousin Beth. What did Beth tell you? That your parents stole money meant for Madison. That they've been arrested. Eva, I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you years ago. What is it? Aunt Linda took a deep breath. Your parents did this before. To Jenna. When she was in college. Everything stopped. What? Jenna had a trust fund from your maternal grandmother. $40,000 for her education. Your grandmother set it up before she died. Your parents were the trustees because Jenna was only 17 when your grandmother passed. I remember that trust, I said slowly. Jenna was supposed to use it for college. She tried to, but by the time she turned 18 and tried to access it, the money was gone. Your parents had drained the entire account. They claimed they had to use it for family emergencies. Medical bills, they said. House repairs. But Jenna found out later that wasn't true. They'd used it to pay off gambling debts. Gambling debts. Your mother has had an online poker problem for years. Your father bets on sports. They've been in debt to some dangerous people. When Jenna confronted them about the trust fund, they guilt-tripped her so badly that she dropped it. She dropped out of college because she couldn't afford it without that money. She never finished her degree. Everything clicked into place. Jenna's defensiveness, her willingness to accept money from our parents without asking questions. She'd been a victim too. And instead of fighting back, she'd become complicit in their schemes, maybe hoping to recoup some of what she'd lost. Does Jenna know you're telling me this? I asked. I called her first. She gave me permission. She's been living with guilt for 15 years, Eva. She's been seeing a therapist since Saturday. She realizes now that by staying silent and accepting their money, she enabled them to do the same thing to Madison. Why didn't anyone tell me before? Your parents threatened to cut off anyone who talked. And honestly, most of the family didn't know the full extent. We all knew they had money problems, but we didn't know they were stealing from their own children. Aunt Linda paused. There's more. They borrowed $20,000 from me 8 years ago. Promised to pay it back. Never did. When I asked about it, they said I was being greedy and petty. I let it go because I didn't want to cause family drama. Aunt Linda, you need to talk to Detective Campbell. They're expanding the investigation. I already did. I called this morning. So did your Uncle Robert and your cousin Beth. We all have stories. Your parents have been doing this for years. After I hung up with Aunt Linda, I sat down hard on the hotel bed. Tyler looked at me with concern. Eva. I told him everything. His face grew darker with each revelation. They're predators, he said finally. They've been preying on their own family for years. My phone rang again. This time it was Patricia, my lawyer. Eva. I have news. Your parents' attorney reached out. They want to settle. Already. They're scared. The evidence is overwhelming. And now that other family members are coming forward, they know they're facing serious prison time. They're offering to return all the stolen funds immediately if you'll agree not to pursue additional civil damages. How much are they offering? $32,000. They're claiming they spent the rest and can't replace it. That's $4,800 short of what they stole from just me and Madison. I know. I told them it wasn't enough. They said they'd have to sell assets to come up with more. Their house, their cars, everything. Good, I said coldly. Sell it all. I want every penny back, plus interest and damages. Eva, I have to tell you, if this goes to trial, it could take a year or more. If you accept a settlement now, you'll have the money faster. Madison's college fund could be restored immediately. I thought about Madison, sleeping peacefully in the next room. I thought about all the months she'd gone without, feeling like a burden, while my parents lived comfortably on stolen money. No settlement. I said, they don't get to negotiate their way out of this. We go to trial. We get a judgment. We make it public record what they did. Understood. I'll let their attorney know. Over the next 2 days, things moved rapidly. My commanding officer called to check on me and assure me that my integrity through this crisis had not gone unnoticed. Several colleagues reached out to offer support. Even people who barely knew me sent messages saying they admired my strength. On Wednesday, Detective Campbell called with a major update. Sergeant Morrison, I need you to sit down for this. I sat. What is it? We've finished analyzing your parents' financial records. The fraud is worse than we initially thought. They've been collecting military-dependent benefits fraudulently for over a year. The fake special needs claims for Madison netted them $9,600 in federal benefits they weren't entitled to. You already told me that part. Right, but there's more. We also discovered they've been filing false tax returns. They claimed Madison as a dependent and received tax credits they weren't entitled to because they were already receiving benefits for her care. That's an additional $6,000 in fraudulent tax refunds over 2 years. So what's the total? From you and Madison alone, $42,800. From other family members, we're still calculating, but it's well over $70,000 total. I felt sick. $70,000, and that's just what we can prove. I suspect there's more we haven't found yet. That evening, I got a call from Jenna. Her voice was thick with tears. Eva, I'm so sorry. I've been talking to the police. I've been telling them everything I remember about my trust fund. I gave them access to all my old bank records. Jenna, I talked to Aunt Linda. I know what they did to you. They ruined my life. She sobbed. I could have finished college. I could have had a career. Instead, I've been stuck in dead-end jobs for 15 years because I don't have a degree. And I let them do it. I was too ashamed to fight back. It's not too late to fight back now, I said gently. You can still go back to school. You can still build the life you wanted. I don't know if I can forgive myself for taking that money from them, for knowing something was wrong and not saying anything. Jenna, they manipulated you. They made you feel guilty for being their victim. That's what abusers do. Can you ever forgive me? I thought about it. I don't know yet, but I'm willing to try. We were both their victims. We don't have to be enemies. Thank you, she whispered. On Thursday morning, exactly 1 week after I'd come home for Christmas, I got the call I'd been waiting for. Detective Campbell, your parents have been formally charged. Grand theft, fraud, identity theft, and forgery. The federal prosecutor is also filing charges for the military benefits, fraud. They're being arrested today. What about bail? Given the amount stolen and the number of victims, the prosecutor is asking for high bail. They're also considered flight risks. Good. Ava, I want you to prepare yourself. This is going to be a long process. But I promise you, we're going to see this through. Thank you, Detective. I hung up and looked at Madison, who was doing homework at the hotel desk. Tyler had enrolled her in online classes temporarily so she wouldn't fall behind. Madison, I said, I need to tell you something. She looked up. I explained what was happening. That her grandparents were being arrested. That they'd be charged with crimes. That they might go to prison. Madison was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Is it wrong that I'm not sad? No, baby, it's not wrong. I feel like I should be sad. They're my grandparents. They hurt you. They hurt both of us. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to not be sad. She nodded slowly. I'm mostly just tired. I'm tired of thinking about them. Can we just focus on our new life? Yes, I said, pulling her close. Yes, we can. That afternoon, Tyler came by with news of his own. I found a great middle school near your place. I talked to the principal. They have space for Madison after winter break. She can start January 8th. Madison's face lit up. Really? Really? And they have a girls' soccer team. Tryouts are in February. I've always wanted to play soccer, Madison said wistfully. Then you'll play soccer, I said. Well, get you signed up. For the first time in days, Madison looked genuinely happy. That night, alone in the bathroom while Madison slept, I let myself cry. I cried for the parents I thought I had. I cried for the grandmother Madison should have had. I cried for all the months Shed suffered while I was overseas, thinking she was being cared for and loved. But then I dried my eyes, washed my face, and looked at myself in the mirror. This wasn't over yet. There was still a trial to face. Still justice to pursue, but we were going to make it. Madison and I, we were going to be okay. The next 3 months passed in a blur of legal proceedings and new beginnings. Madison and I moved into my small house near the base. It was modest, just 900 square feet with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, but it was ours. Madison chose lavender paint for her room, and we spent a weekend painting it together. Tyler helped us move furniture and hung shelves for Madison's books. Madison started at her new school in January and thrived immediately. She made friends quickly. Her teachers praised her intelligence and work ethic. In February, she tried out for the soccer team and made it. I went to every single practice and game, and watching her run across that field with joy on her face healed something deep inside me. The legal process moved slower than I wanted but faster than expected. My parents hired a lawyer, a slick man named Douglas Green, who tried to paint them as confused elderly victims who'd simply mismanaged funds. He claimed there was no criminal intent, just poor record-keeping. Patricia destroyed that argument in our first court hearing. She presented the forged signatures, the hidden letters, the pattern of theft spanning decades and multiple family members, the luxury purchases made with stolen money, the deliberate emotional abuse of Madison. By the time she finished, even Douglas Green looked uncomfortable. In March, Detective Campbell called with a major development. The federal prosecutor has added charges: mail fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy. Your parents weren't just stealing. They were running a coordinated, long-term scheme. What does that mean for sentencing? If convicted on all charges, they're looking at significant federal prison time. We're talking 5 to 10 years. The preliminary hearing was set for April. I took leave from work to attend. Madison asked if she could come too. Are you sure? I asked her. You don't have to see them. I want to, she said. I want to look at them and know I'm not afraid anymore. The courtroom was packed. Aunt Linda was there. Uncle Robert, Cousin Beth. Jenna sat in the back, pale and nervous. Tyler came to support Madison and me. When my parents were brought in, I barely recognized them. My father had lost weight and looked years older. My mother's hair had gone completely gray. They both wore orange jumpsuits. Neither would look at me. The prosecutor laid out the charges methodically. $42,800 stolen from me and Madison. $40,000 from Jenna's trust fund 15 years ago. $20,000 from Aunt Linda. $15,000 from Uncle Robert. $8,000 from Cousin Beth. Smaller amounts from other relatives. Over $130,000 total. My parents' lawyer tried to argue for mercy. He painted them as people who'd made mistakes, who were struggling with addiction, who deserved treatment rather than punishment. Patricia stood and addressed the judge. Your Honor, these defendants didn't make mistakes. They made calculated choices, again and again, over decades. They targeted their own family members. They forged documents. They filed false claims with the military and the IRS. They emotionally abused a 12-year-old child while stealing her college fund. They showed no remorse until they were caught. This isn't addiction. This is predatory behavior. The judge ordered both of my parents held without bail pending trial. Douglas Green objected strenuously, but the judge was unmoved. These defendants have shown a pattern of theft and fraud spanning multiple years and multiple victims, the judge said. They have significant debts to dangerous individuals, which makes them flight risks. They have no community ties strong enough to ensure their appearance at trial. Bail is denied. My mother started crying. My father stared straight ahead, his jaw clenched. As they were let out, my mother caught my eye. She mouthed the words, "Please, Eva." I looked away. Outside the courthouse, reporters were waiting. Apparently, the story of military parents stealing from their deployed daughter had gained local media attention. I made a brief statement. My parents betrayed my trust and stole from my daughter. I'm grateful to law enforcement for holding them accountable. I hope this sends a message that elder financial abuse and family theft will not be tolerated, no matter who the perpetrator is. That night, Madison asked me if I felt bad for my mother. A little, I admitted. She's still my mother. Part of me will always love the person I thought she was, but the person I thought she was doesn't exist. She hasn't existed for a long time, maybe never did. I don't miss them, Madison said. Is that wrong? No, baby. They hurt you. You don't have to miss people who hurt you. In May, something unexpected happened. Douglas Green called Patricia with a new offer. They want to plead guilty, Patricia told me, to all charges. In exchange, they're asking for a reduced sentence recommendation. What are they offering for restitution? Full restitution to all victims. They're selling their house, their cars, all their assets. The total will cover about 90% of what was stolen. They're agreeing to wage garnishment after release to cover the rest. And the sentence. The prosecutor is recommending 3 years in federal prison, followed by 5 years probation. They'll have to attend gambling addiction treatment. They'll have no contact orders with all victims who request them. I thought about it. A trial would be exhausting. Madison would potentially have to testify. The whole ordeal would be dragged out for months, maybe over a year. What do you think? I asked Patricia. I think it's a fair deal. 3 years is significant time. Full restitution is what matters most. And the no-contact order protects Madison. I talked to Madison. I talked to Tyler. I talked to Aunt Linda and Uncle Robert. Everyone agreed. We wanted this over. I called Patricia back. Well, except the plea deal on one condition. I want to read a victim impact statement at sentencing. I'll make it happen. The plea hearing was in June. The courtroom was quieter this time. My parents stood before the judge and admitted to everything. Every theft, every lie, every forged signature. The judge asked if they had anything to say. My father spoke first, his voice rough. I'm sorry. I was desperate. I made terrible choices. I hurt the people I loved. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it right. My mother couldn't speak. She just cried. Then it was my turn. I walked to the podium with my written statement. I looked at my parents directly. You were supposed to protect my daughter. Instead, you stole from her. You made her feel worthless. You kept me from her by hiding my letters. You tried to make her believe I'd abandoned her. You damaged her self-esteem and her trust in family. That damage will take years to heal. My voice stayed steady. You didn't just steal money. You stole her childhood sense of security. You stole months of our relationship. You stole her belief that she was wanted and loved. That's what I can't forgive. Not the money, the cruelty. I paused. But I want you to know that despite everything you did, Madison is thriving. She's happy. She's loved. She knows her worth now. You failed to break her. You failed to break us. And that is your loss, not ours. I stepped down. Madison reached for my hand and squeezed it. The judge sentenced them to 3 years in federal prison, with credit for time served. 5 years probation after release. Full restitution to all victims. Mandatory gambling addiction treatment. No contact orders for anyone who requested them. I requested one for Madison and myself. As they were led away, my father looked back one more time. I didn't look away this time. I wanted him to see that I was unmoved, that I was strong, that he had no power over me anymore. Outside, reporters asked how I felt. I feel like justice was served, I said simply. Now my daughter and I can move forward. 6 months after that terrible Christmas, life had transformed completely. It was now late June, and Madison was finishing up her first year at her new school. Shed made the honor roll every single term. Her soccer team had won their regional championship, and Madison had scored the winning goal in the final game. I'd never been more proud. The restitution money had come through. $32,000 deposited into an account. ID set up exclusively for Madison's college fund. This time, I was the only name on it. No one else could touch it, ever. It also received a separate settlement from the insurance company that had covered the fraudulent military benefits. That money went into a savings account for Madison's future. Tyler and I had settled into an easy co-parenting rhythm. Madison spent weekdays with me and weekends with him, plus alternating holidays. His girlfriend, Angela, was kind to Madison, and I appreciated that. We'd even had dinner together a few times, the four of us, like a modern, blended family. Jenna had started community college in January, working toward the degree Shed abandoned 15 years ago. She was studying accounting, ironically. Shed paid back every penny Shed received from our parents, even though Id told her she didn't have to. We weren't close yet, but we were talking, slowly rebuilding. Aunt Linda had gotten her money back too. Shed used part of it to take her grandchildren to Disney World, something Shed always wanted to do. Uncle Robert had donated his restitution to a charity that helped victims of family financial abuse. Everyone was healing in their own way. It was a Saturday morning, and Madison and I were in the kitchen making pancakes when there was a knock at the door. Madison tensed instinctively. "It's okay," I said. "I'm expecting someone." I opened the door to find Diane, Tyler's mother, holding a wrapped package and a homemade cake. "I know I'm early," she said with a smile, "but I couldn't wait." "Come in," I laughed. Behind her came Tyler and Angela, both carrying bags. Then Jenna, looking nervous but hopeful. Aunt Linda, Uncle Robert, Cousin Beth, and her kids. Our small house filled with people who genuinely cared about Madison. It was Madison's 13th birthday. Her first birthday in this new life. We'd kept it small deliberately. No big party, just people who loved her. People who'd shown up when it mattered. Madison looked around the crowded living room, tears in her eyes. "You all came." "Of course we came," Aunt Linda said, hugging her. "We wouldn't miss it for the world." We sang happy birthday. Madison blew out her candles and made a wish. We ate cake and opened presents. Tyler had gotten her a new pair of soccer cleats. Angela gave her a gift card to her favorite bookstore. Jenna had made a photo album of pictures from Madison's childhood, the good memories before everything fell apart. Diane gave her a beautiful necklace with a soccer ball charm. When it was my turn, I handed Madison a small envelope. Inside was a letter. She read it aloud. "Madison, this certificate entitles you to one college of your choice, fully funded, no matter where or what you want to study. Your college fund is secure. Your future is secure. You are wanted, valued, and loved, Mom." Madison threw her arms around me. "Thank you. For everything. For fighting for me. For bringing me here. For making me feel safe again. Always," I whispered. "Always." As the party wound down and people started leaving, Madison pulled me aside. "Mom, can I ask you something? Anything? Do you think Grandma and Grandpa will ever try to contact me again? After they get out?" I'd been dreading this question. "They might try. But they can't. We have a no-contact order. It's illegal for them to reach out to you without permission. And if they do, they go right back to prison. Do you think they're sorry? Really sorry?" I chose my words carefully. "I think they're sorry they got caught. I think they're sorry for the consequences they're facing. Whether they're sorry for hurting you, I honestly don't know, and it doesn't matter. Their apology isn't what you need to heal. You heal by building a life full of people who genuinely love you. And look around, baby, you have that." Madison looked at the people still in our living room. Tyler was helping Diane pack up leftover cake. Jenna was doing dishes with Aunt Linda. Angela was playing with Beth's kids in the backyard. Everyone was comfortable, happy, together. "Yeah," Madison said softly. "I do." That evening, after everyone left, Madison and I sat on the porch watching the sunset. It was warm, peaceful, the kind of evening that felt like a gift. "Mom," Madison said. "Yeah, I'm glad you came home for Christmas. Even though it was awful at first, I'm glad. Because now we're here. And here is good. Here is very good." I agreed. Madison leaned against me. "What do you think the most important thing you learned from all this was?" I thought about it for a long moment. Then I said, "I learned that real family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about protection, honesty, and sacrifice. When someone shows you through their actions that they value money more than your well-being, believe them the first time. I'm sorry I didn't see what was happening sooner, but I promise you this. I will always fight for you. Always. I turned to look at her. You never have to earn love or feel like a burden. You are wanted, valued, and cherished exactly as you are. And someday, when you're older, maybe when you're a mother yourself, you'll understand that the greatest gift you can give your child isn't money or things. It's the absolute certainty that they matter more than anything else in this world. That's what family really means. Madison was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I already knew that, Mom. That's why I chose you. We sat together in the fading light, and for the first time in longer than I could remember, I felt complete peace. The road here had been painful. The betrayal had cut deep. But Wed survived it. More than survived. Wed built something stronger than what Wed had before. My phone buzzed. A text from my commanding officer. Congratulations on your promotion, Sergeant First Class Morrison. Well deserved. I smiled. In all the chaos, I'd almost forgotten. My promotion had come through. More pay, more responsibility. More opportunities for Madison and me. Good news, Madison asked. Very good news, I said. Things are looking up for us, kiddo. They really are. She agreed. As darkness fell, we went inside. Madison headed to her lavender room to video chat with her friends. I started preparing for the week ahead. Work, soccer practice, a parent-teacher conference. Normal, everyday things. Beautiful, boring, safe things. Before bed, Madison came to say goodnight. She hugged me extra tight. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. More than anything. More than anything, she echoed. After she went to bed, I stood in my small kitchen making my lunch for tomorrow. I looked around at this modest house. At the life Wed built from the wreckage of betrayal. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fancy. But it was honest. It was safe. It was ours. And that was more than enough. I thought about the people who'd stood by us through this. Tyler, who'd put aside our past to protect our daughter. Diane, who'd embraced Madison as her granddaughter without hesitation. Aunt Linda and Uncle Robert, who'd found the courage to come forward about their own victimization. Jenna, who'd faced her own trauma and chosen growth over bitterness. Even Patricia and Detective Campbell, professionals who'd gone above and beyond to ensure justice was served. These were Madison's real family now. People who'd proven through action, not just words, that they cared. I made myself a promise that night. I would never again assume that blood relation meant automatic trust. I would never again ignore red flags out of politeness or family loyalty. I would teach Madison to protect herself, to trust her instincts, to demand respect and honesty from everyone in her life. But I also promised to teach her forgiveness, not for those who hurt her, but for herself. To let go of guilt and shame that never belonged to her. To understand that other people's cruelty was never her fault. As I turned off the lights and headed to bed, I paused at Madison's door. She was already asleep, her face peaceful. On her nightstand was the photo album Jenna had made, open to a picture of Madison as a toddler, laughing in my arms. Next to it was the necklace from Diane. On her wall were ribbons from her soccer tournaments and a certificate from her school for academic excellence. Evidence of a life rebuilt. Evidence of resilience. Evidence of love. I closed her door softly and went to my own room. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new responsibilities, new opportunities. But tonight, we were safe. We were loved. We were free. And that was everything. Before I share some final thoughts with you, I want to ask you something. Have you ever had to stand up to family members who betrayed your trust? How did you find the courage to put your child's well-being above family loyalty? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who's facing a similar situation. If this story resonated with you, please consider hitting that like button. It helps more people find these stories and realize they're not alone in their struggles. And if you want to hear more stories about courage, resilience, and justice, subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Finally, if you know someone who needs to hear this message, someone who's struggling with family betrayal or financial abuse, please share this video with them. Sometimes knowing that others have walked this path and survived makes all the difference. Thank you so much for listening to Madison's and my story. I hope it reminded you that you are stronger than you think, that justice is possible, and that protecting the people you love is always worth the fight. Take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time, remember that your worth is not determined by how others treat you. It's determined by how you treat yourself and those who depend on you. Be well.